Hey y'all. So I felt the need to want to come on and talk a little bit, about gratitude and just being grateful for the changes that's happening in my life right now. And as I was about to press record, a ladybug is literally right here on my ex-husband's mother, who just recently passed away. Matter of fact, it's right here. September 11th, 9/11. And I went to her funeral and actually was gonna come on and talk about a story that it was because of her. And at that moment, a ladybug, I'm gonna show you guys, flew right here on her scarf that I tied on my tripod. So I'm gonna talk about that today. I'm gonna talk about that story. This is her. Her name is Magdalena Clutter. Very, 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 very amazing woman. I didn't get a chance to stay in touch with her. After me and her son actually separated. So the story that I want to talk to you guys about is just about a miracle that actually happened recently with her son and I. It actually starts a week prior, where I get a phone call from my sister to tell me that one of my ex-friends, well, not really an ex-friend, she's still an associate, but we kind of like strained away, so we never really talked to each other anymore after past problems and issues. But I was very close with her children. When I was young, I used to hang around her children too with her, and her kids are so smart. We always had a good connection. I was young and she was 8 years older than me, but we were good friends. And that's actually how I met my ex-husband, which was with her and his brother. Okay, so her kids were very, very close to me too. Like, they were my own family. They called me auntie. So when issues happened with, it was breakup situations and things like that, and issues between me and her, we actually got estranged, and I moved on with my life, and actually moved to a whole nother state and was dealing with other things. I would just see them on Facebook and things like that and speak to them, and they would, write me, and I could see everything they were doing on Facebook. He ended up having 2 beautiful, beautiful, beautiful baby girls. And he's actually 22 years old, and his name is Curtis. And this has all happened in the past, in the matter of literally 2 weeks. 2 weeks to 3 weeks. This is Curtis. And Curtis Lee Jones, Patterson Jones. Curtis passed away due to having a form of cancer, colon cancer, as a young boy. That's why it's very important for us, our young men, to make sure that they stay up on their health. And also, he was also dealing with a lot of mental issues as well. Not mental as far as crazy, but, addictions and things where he was actually trying to better himself. And he was always such a good heart, though. This is the thing about the story. Both of the people I'm speaking to you about were people that I connected to on a heart basis, not on any other basis. These two people were close to me in a way where when I actually met these people, they were, you know, we had such a bond in a different type of way. You know, we kind of understood each other on a different type of level on a heart basis. Like, they were just special people to me that I met in my life. I could never have anything bad to say, but I'm so glad and grateful that I met them. So when I heard that he passed away, I cried on the spot. I cried on the spot because when the person actually told me that the person passed away, it was like, oh, somebody you don't really know. I mean, you don't really talk to anymore, but he died. And then when they said his name, I was like, I broke down because I always expected to be able to see that person again. I never would have expected, you know, Curtis, 22 years old. And they actually found him in the bathroom. He was in the bathroom when he passed away, right after he used the bathroom. 22 years old. And so I go down to North Carolina, that's where they lived. I said, you know, normally I don't travel too much back to North Carolina like that. If I travel, I'm literally going either overseas or I'm doing something like an actual vacation, which it hasn't been a minute. So if I'm going somewhere, it's literally because I went somewhere overseas. And I decided that I needed to go back down there to go to that funeral because that's how much my heart was really there for this person, you know. So I go down there and now I am back around the mother, which everything is good now, you know. We got a chance to really talk and things like that, and she's still got her own thing going on in her life and her kids. I got a chance to meet them again, and just being around them again was just like, wow, you know, for them to come back around me and just embrace me, like, wow, they missed me. And it was just so, wow, it's like, wow, you know, it just felt so good to know that you were also an impact on other people, where they still can remember you to the point where they show absolute unconditional love for you, and you're able to do the same for them, you know, regardless on barriers or where you've been through and things like that. Which is another reason why growth is very important, because if I wasn't in a positive mindset, it actually could have went bad, because I could have rejected them or whatever, you know. But I went with an understanding of knowing that people have a past and we all make mistakes. We all do things that we will regret in the end. And sometimes we make these choices, and sometimes those are the only choices you know how to make at the time, until you learn to go through your own growth, which is not up to nobody else but you and God. But nonetheless, being around them was just so amazing, because I got a chance to see all of their children. They all had kids, and their babies were so smart, like no other children. Like, as I remember them when they were young, they were all so smart. That's why I got connected to them too, because they were so smart. But these kids are so smart. As soon as they heard that I'm auntie, they never met me before in a day in their life. They were on me like a hip, like on my hip. I literally bathed them. I had them around me. They were sleeping on me, but like they were just like I was mommy. I was auntie, you know, and they were just so like auntie, and just like they were the sweetest freaking kids. But in that process, their parents were actually going through their own situations now as adults. And to be someone that has been through a lot of situations and was able to get out of situations by thinking differently and doing differently and learning a different way and understanding my truth and where I come from, and forgiving myself for my mistakes, and forgiving other people for what they've done to me, I was able to go back and see their pain and what they were going through in their own life with their family members. you know, and it was a reflection of old me. And I was able to, it's like God used this whole situation for him passing. He was the person like I would be, to keep people together and always be nice and always tell people, you know, we can work it out. Even if y'all, you know, they have arguments, always the one that tries to cheer everything up afterwards, you know, the aftermath, you know, he's the pickup. But then he was dealing with his own issues as well, you know. But the thing is that I was able to talk to them and understand their pain with their own parents and the way that they brought up and how they're not happy with their life and things and like that nature, and, you know, help them understand that you only have one life and we only have one life, and we could blame the next person for not, you know, being the right parent, or as we so think, not doing the right things, not getting us what we wanted, not being there for us, taking from us, you know, all kinds of things that actually do happen in a lot of our poverty homes, all kinds of homes, but most homes like that, because parents are dealing with their own issues, you know, and they're not thinking about the aftermath of what their child is looking at. The children are taking it as if it's them, they're the blame. And then they go back and do the same thing and blame the parent. When we have to understand that they're only doing what they know. When we get a certain age, yeah, it's hard at the beginning when you go through certain things, but now if you have somebody to talk to you and actually get you to understand that you went through a certain pain so that you can help someone else. You were a chosen person. You're chosen by God, no matter who you are, if you choose to be. But you could choose to be karmic if you want to too. That's your choice. You have the choice to do whatever you want to do in your life. We all have free will. So the thing is that it's good to be able to get other people to see it from a different perspective and know that, you know, you are loved. Your children are the reason why you're here. You have to go through the things you go through so that when you have children, you know how to be a good parent to that child. You know, if you look at it in a positive aspect. But if you're trying to look at it negative, you're only going to get a negative outcome. A negative plus a negative is only a negative. But a negative plus a positive is a positive. So it's even in the algebraic expression, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just about what you choose to believe it to be, you know? So it's like you can't blame yourself for something that somebody else put you through at a certain point. Only thing you can do is take what you have now, learn from it, and grow. Use your time wisely. We take all our time to be focusing on the negative and what we don't have and why this didn't turn out this way and why this person acts like this and why this is this way and why this is that. The reason why that's happening and why you're thinking like that is because you're the one focusing on that. You're attracting that negativity around you. But if you focus on looking for a better outcome, focus on associating yourself with better outcomes, then you will have a better outcome. It's all about how you put it. It's all about how you put it. Even when you got people around you that's trying to be negative, you have a choice to take it as negativity. It don't have to be. And you're not, if somebody's trying to hurt you, there's a difference. Like, come on. Like, you're not going to really stick around somebody that's trying to really hurt you. And if so, then that's your doing. But either way, it was just so good to be able to talk to them and assist them in a little bit. And it's like God used me to come there and be there for them and see those children and just explain to them, the kids, like, you know, it's really important to not look at things as the, you know, like this is the end all be all because your brother passed away. Yes, it is sad. Yes, it is sad, but trust me, if you understand the energy behind it, he is fine. God has that person. If they got a good heart and you know this person was good, know that God got them. Know God got them. Know God got them. You got to start seeking God for yourself. But so anyway, after that, what's crazy is that after the funeral was done, literally they had a party that same night after the funeral. Not really a party, but more of a cookout, with a gathering with everybody. I had got the little kids' little ladybug costumes, so they was running around looking like little ladybugs. Hence, there's a ladybug in my house. There's a ladybug, and it was literally, before it flew on here, it was actually up by Curtis's picture. And there was four running around with little ladybug costumes, and everybody's just wearing a Curtis t-shirt with his face on it, and we were just cooking and hanging out. Miracles are real. God is so real. He shows face. He shows when you seek. When you're trying to be good, when you're trying to do things to attract good, you will see the manifestation in front of you. So that same night of the cookout, we get a phone call. I'm in the kitchen. My friend comes in and she's crying and she says, Denisha, Elagio's mother just died. Now, Elagio met, mind you, me and her met the two brothers at the same time. So they got married just like we got married. And I separated and they separated. But at the time, he came back around because of the funeral. So they were kind of trying to get close again together. But I'm completely, in a different space when it comes down to that, the relationship type thing. But as far as understanding their relationship and being friends and associates as far as the child, I understood that, that was her comfort blanket. He came to be a comfort blanket for her. And the crazy thing is she got a phone call right after that, the funeral of her son. And he was there at the funeral crying because that was literally his son. He raised him as well. And then we get a call that his mother passed away, which is my ex-husband's mother. And I could only think about my ex-husband like, well, oh my God, I know how he must feel, because my father, I know what I went through when I lost my father. So I know how it feels to have to sit there and go through a hearing that, like, and it just happened at the time while we were in the funeral is when she pretty much passed away. Because the lady that was taking care of her ended up walking in and then ended up calling the ambulance and calling him to tell them. So that was really crazy because we were just like, wow, wow. And so I was just like, well, listen, I was literally on my way back to New York. Mind you, they lived in New York. His mother lived in New York. Mind you, I live in New York too. So I was already going back home, and they were going to travel from North Carolina to New York to go and bury his mother. So I was like, wow, well, you know what? I'm going back to New York. So I called and I'm like, hey, I'm sorry to hear what happened. I'm here for moral support. Are you coming to New York? They were like, yeah. I'm like, okay. So I ended up going to New York, and then when I was there, I contacted them and I said, hey, when you let me know the arrangements, I'm going to go to the arrangements. I'll be there. I said, okay. He was like, he really appreciated it. He really wanted me to be there. So he sends me the address. I go to the funeral. And when he sees me, he's like breaks down crying. He hugs me. And I'm just like, oh my God, and I'm crying too because I'm like, wow, she was such an amazing woman. And I'm looking at her lay there and I'm just like, it's like so much emotions all at one time. Even his nieces, their nieces that I remember when they were kids, I didn't even think they would remember me. They were babies. Walked up to me and said, Auntie Nini, and then literally hugs me and was just like, oh my God. And then they could not leave, would not stop hugging me the whole time we were at the funeral. Just kept coming to me, and I was consoling them. I was consoling the sister because I remember her, and they all missed me. And it's been over 7-8 years now. 7-8 years that I haven't seen any of these people, and even the kids from the first funeral. So this is just and it was so emotional because it was just God, you're doing so much. And then I was actually able to console them like they needed it. There was a couple of arguments that actually took place between the brothers, that I had to come take one away and really explain, like, listen, this is your mom's funeral. Listen, even though that's the enemy trying to attack y'all, making y'all not focus, because, she also has her own inheritance and things that they're supposed to be receiving as a family. So they have to focus on that and getting her buried and wanting to have her buried in another country. It was just so much. And so it was a lot of emotions, and they were really, really distraught at the same time, because that was their backbone. Like, she was an amazing woman, you guys. Like, I don't think you understand. Like, they were Honduran, Guatemalan. They were like a black, they're African American, but Galifuna. So that's like where you're born in Honduras. Like, your family, you're black, but your family's like descended in Honduras, but then they moved to America, and then the boys were born in New York, but their first language was Spanish. So they spoke Spanish, but yet they spoke English at the same time. The mother she was more of Honduran. She was black, but she spoke mostly Spanish. Like, me and her never really communicated through actual conversation. We always communicated through, I know what she's saying. She's telling me I understood her. Like, it was so crazy. It's so crazy to even say this right now, because it's like we literally had our own form of understanding back when, she used to come and visit us at our house. And she would bring me gifts, and she would cook for me, and she would bring, and I would cook for her, and I would make sure she was good. And, even though we couldn't talk to each other, we were there for each other. Like, regardless of me and his situation or whatever, she always stayed neutral too. She was always respectful of me as a woman, regardless on anything, She didn't take sides. That's one thing she did not do. She did not take no sides. You know what I mean? She was very, like, in the middle, kind of like how I am, Another thing, like Curtis is the same exact way. He didn't really take sides. It's more of, let's all, like, what's up, But it's so crazy how that happened. And then I was able to have a conversation. So the main point of this is, I was able, and this is just a week and a half ago. Like, no, not even a week and a half, like a week ago. I was able to sit down with him while after the funeral. They had a gathering now. The gathering was at an apartment building in Bronx. So I was there, and they had a bunch of food, and like I said, we were all in our emotions. They had like a little set up altar for her with a candle, and it was lit, and people would walk by and look at her. And, we were just hanging out and having some drinks, eating, all kinds of stuff. It was just a great energy. It was a great vibe. Because they were all reminiscing and stuff like that. So as we're reminiscing, I get a chance to have a talk with my ex-husband. And I just, remember, when I was talking about accountability, I now have a form of accountability. I have full accountability. I know what choices that I made in the past and the things that I could have been better as a woman. And I understand that I was young and I didn't even know, and that I was literally, creating my entire outcome with the person that I was with, because I wanted them to be a certain way, that I was seeing myself as I deserved and not allowing that person to be who they wanted to be. So when this person wasn't the way he was supposed to be, I would have an attitude about it too. And that I would be a certain way. And then sometimes I would not say nothing and let things slide when things started to get a certain way. And then things would boil up. And then now we would have arguments and fights. And it was just a lot. So our relationship was very, very toxic. But yet, codependent and loving at the same time. It was a crazy type of relationship. It was like we loved each other to the point of we wanted to be around each other all the time. But when we fought, that was it. It was a bad, bad, bad fight. So I also understand the part that I played in the accountability. I was very toxic when I was younger too. People don't get it twisted. But I understand that now, looking back at who I was and the things that I'd done and the choices that I made, it's like I look at myself and I'm just like, wow, like based off of my outcome and what I saw around me, I was allowing myself to be affected by that and deciding to manipulate in my own way, And that wasn't good. Even if it wasn't where I was doing people bad, it's still a form of toxicity that I was bringing upon myself as far as karma. So to be able to talk to my ex-husband and explain to him that it was not all his fault and that I do not blame him, I am not mad at him, and I don't wish him any form of harm or anything, and I just wish that he would, understand that it's not his fault, because he used to blame himself. After we broke up, he kind of went downward to the point where he was doing, still in a way not doing good when it comes down to guns, drugs, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, he's a worker. He's always been the type of person that provided and took care. And he was like that when we first met. He was a good guy. He did seek love too. But because we were young, it's like we made each other toxic in a way. But the way he handled it afterwards was a way of resentment. And it's like me looking at myself as a woman. It's like, yo, I played a part in that as well. I played a part in that as well. I can't be mad at him for being toxic based off of the whole circumstance. I have to look at it like, but at the end of the day, he is an adult and has to take accountability of his own actions and say, you know what, I deserve better for myself and I need to change my life. Not, I'm mad, so everybody gonna get this energy, So the point is to be able to acknowledge your accountability for what you do and the choices you make so that you can really, really change them. Not try to sugarcoat things and act like you change and stuff, but you really just trying to stay the same and have a more, basically put a veil over your bull. You know what I mean? And if that's how you want to live at the end of the day, anybody could do whatever they want. You can do what you want. But at the end of the day, if you want to live in a more abundant way where you don't have to worry about faking nothing, it's just be your damn self. Find who you are. Learn yourself. Learn your makeup. Know why you think the way you think, and why you like the things you like, and why you did the things you did, and why you liked the things you liked back then. And so I got a chance to really explain to him that I don't blame him. And it got so crazy to the point where he stopped me and he was like, no, don't say that. Don't say that. Don't. It's like he's been blaming himself for over 8 years. 8 years he's been blaming himself. That to the point when I'm telling him, I'm the one that he thinks is blaming him in his mind for 8 years is telling him that I don't blame him. He looked at me like he couldn't take it, like he could not take it because he know that he did cause me to say bye. He did. But I understand me provoking in the beginning. I understand my parts that I played as a woman and things I could have done better. But I allowed it to get that bad. I allowed it to get that bad. I allowed him to get that bad. That's selfish, because it's basically me saying I'm going to just stick around because I want what I want out of it, even though I don't like him being like this, but I want what I want out of it. So I'm going to let him act like he do. It's like I'm letting him just be trash with me. When I should be saying, like, I don't deserve that shit and he don't deserve to have to act like that. So let you heal and let me go heal where I don't attract this and I don't like this type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's really what it is. That's why accountability is important. And that's why I wanted to bring this story to y'all today, because that was a miracle. That was a miracle. Now we are good. Like, at the end of the day, we are good. And we got our divorce. We are good. Like, yeah, he still loves me. Yes, he still cares for me very deeply. Yeah, he knows I don't want anything else. And that's just what it is. It's like I've grown past all of that. And then right now, actually, he still needs to go through a whole heap of healing, because he is really in a place of like, that was like his awakening point, like a little small awakening for him to see like, it's your fault that you're blaming yourself now. If you continue to blame yourself after this, and you continue to feel the way you feel after this, and you continue to go through the way you're going through after this, and we're good, like good, then that means you literally are self-sabotaging yourself. And if he watches this video, I just wish the best for you, and I don't want you to do that. Like, don't self-sabotage yourself. I'm gonna tell you a million times, like, I might cry because you know how I feel. Like, you deserve to be happy. You should want happiness for yourself. You deserve to be happy. You should want happiness for yourself. You don't need to be putting yourself in relationships to think that you need to fulfill a form of yourself that you know you don't want. Like, no. Give yourself what you want and what you deserve, because you deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve the best. Everybody deserves the best. We deserve the best. Give yourself the best. You can't expect the best if you're not the best. So they not lying. They right. People is right when they saying these things. You can't say, oh, I should be able to. Yeah, you can get that when you're doing what that person's doing. And I don't mean materialistic. I don't mean money. I'm talking about mentally. When you mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally, when you on another type of level with a person, where when you meet up with that person, y'all fulfill each other mentally, physically, emotionally, all levels. If you cannot do that with a person, then that's not what it is. That's not what it is. Just to be in a relationship, just to have a child, just to do, like, and then eventually it's going to end anyway. Like, you just wasted mad time just to get your rocks off, to be miserable, to not even really enjoy, like, really just enjoy the lustful moment at the time, but not bask in the moment of true unconditional love for the person that you're with. It's probably because you don't believe in it, or you don't believe it's real. But that's up to you to believe. That's you, because you're not trying to make sure you have that for yourself. Like, before you add anybody in your life, nobody else should be coming in your life until you fully, completely care for yourself, or you understand and love yourself. Now, I don't mean you could be young as hell and love yourself and know you love yourself and attract the right mate. That's a different story. That's a different story. It doesn't matter what age you are. It doesn't matter what bracket you are. It doesn't matter where you are. But until you know you're fully mentally ready, spiritually, emotionally, physically, like you're taking care of yourself, you love yourself enough to give yourself to another person, you're going to attract the same thing, because you're not going to give yourself what you don't give to yourself. That doesn't make sense. If you do that, then you're still lacking in an area. You're not healed like you think you are, because you should not accept something that does not help heal your inner and best being, your highest being, like fulfill you, give you. It should fill you up. It should fill you up like water. No creases, no crevices. Don't fill me up with sand. Don't fill me up with pebbles. Don't fill me up with little ball papers. Don't fill me up with none of that. Fill me up with water. I want to be completely filled where I'm overflowing. I'm just saying. And that's how we all should feel. And only God can give us that full feeling before we get with somebody that gives us that feeling. Because when you know that feeling, without nobody, with God, and then you meet somebody and you feel that kind of feeling, that's when you know it's real. Not when you feel a feeling that you know is coming from because you just yearning for something and you really want to, No, not that kind of feeling. Because that feeling feel good too. That feeling feel real good. And it's so good that it'll have you just all you thinking about. That's all you thinking about. That's all you're literally cursing yourself. You're literally, because you're not focused on what's really important. And that's the feeling of knowing what is good for you and what's not good for you. Because you could get that same feeling that you think you feel that feels so good. You could get that same feeling with the feeling you feel with love, but it's going to be even better. I promise you that. It feels even better. And it don't even got to be on the same type of time as the other feeling. It don't even got to be on the same type of time, but it's going to feel good on all levels. It feels way better if you're patient. if you wait for it, if you allow yourself to give yourself that feeling first. Know what it is. Know what it feels like to truly fall in love with yourself. You will attract it. And then we will assist other people on becoming it. So even when we attract the negative people, our energy, our form of love for ourselves is actually going to be rubbing off on people, so we can start them on their journey, so eventually they can get to the point where they're attracting their love. You see, it's a ripple effect. Once you start, it come on, all around you, your aura, it is what it is, because you're only going to allow what you're going to allow. And that person, when they see that that's all you're going to allow, and then they see your abundance, and they see how great that you are as a human being, you're not malicious in any way. You're just basically having boundaries and understanding your worth. It makes other people want to understand their worth. It makes other people want to understand their worth. Yeah, so this video is getting kind of long. But I wanted to come in and just talk a little bit. Like I said, I'm going to be coming with some videos. But yeah, that story, man, I'm so glad I could actually express that, man. I wanted to talk to somebody about that. And I got to let it out on the platform, so that's even better, you know what I mean? So anybody can hear this story. So this is for everybody. Understand the big picture. Understand. You know what I mean? You got to see bigger than what's the surface. This surface stuff means nothing. This means nothing. This means nothing. None of this stuff means nothing. It could be destroyed tomorrow. What you going to do if you don't got your same mind? You going to panic. You going to panic. What you going to do? Give yourself that. You deserve that. You deserve every good thing. I'm sending wonderful, beautiful vibrations to everybody that watches this video, that's come across your path. This is for you. And I just wish love, light, abundance, greatness, and everything that you deserve to come to you in your life. And I just want you to say to yourself, I am enough. I deserve the best. And I don't deserve anything other than what's great. God made me the way I am for a reason. He gave me this vessel for me to use it to assist in whatever way necessary. And however that way may be for you personally, do it. Do it for you. God will show favor. God will show favor. He shows favor. And it's not for everybody to understand you or want to get to know you or try to want to be around you. It ain't about that. God will give you your soul family. God will give you who needs to be around you. Trust me. The people that don't need to be around you don't need to be around you. That's why they're not around you. Everything is strategic. God has plans. Especially if you know you're not a bad person. I'm not talking about people that are intentionally ruining relationships with people. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about that a person that literally finding things and problems to cause people to remove out of their life. And I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you as a person who is literally trying to just live a good life and do what you got to do. And the people that are around you are the ones that are around you. That's what it needs to be. Whoever needs to be around you will come. And the people that's not around you will understand if they love you. If they love you, they will understand. Just like you would understand. Because you're trying to get your life together. You're trying to grow. You understand. If you go across, if you're not codependent and trying to, you don't need everybody to always be around and always need to call somebody. If you don't, listen, this is for you. Because if a person truly loves you, they will understand just like you will understand. Get to know you. Unconditional love forever, you guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. Please like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any questions or anything like that, also put that down in the comment section if you guys come across this video. I do not mind looking at those questions and answering them in another video and making that a topic. I'm glad that like I said, I could bring this information to you guys today about those two awesome people that I got a chance to come across in my life and that are now, with me in spirit, and with God. God is guiding. God is such a guider. And my dad. My dad, you know, I even have my dad's picture there. You guys, y'all don't even understand. Look. Like, they're right there. Right there. So, yeah, y'all. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful night. And again, unconditional love forever.